Welcome to Ignorance Unleashed with your host Salvatore Cavalieri.
Hey. So today we're going to talk about, another video that I saw recently about this guru. It's a she. I won't say the name. It's a she around that she went to Texas and she bought a piece of land in Texas, somewhere in the boonies, far, far, far away. So far away that if she even called several realtors, only one actually show up to do the work. Well, that doesn't surprise me. Okay. Anyway, so her point was, hey, look, I'm going to buy with $10,000 this piece of land far in the woods, far in the there was nothing around. Okay. And her point is, hey, look, you can do an Airbnb, you can build this, you can build that, and have a very exotic place and all that. Really, I don't know. Oh, and she went and she interviewed other people. I have to give her kudos for her hard work. And I have to give her kudos to the people that do the editing of the video. And you look at it, it's very entertaining, I have to say. But it's entertaining. Reality may not be that. Okay, number one, okay, if you're going to invest in a place, you have to make sure that you have some economic factors going for it. Why someone is going to drive 2-3 hours from a main city just to be in the middle of the desert consistently? Yes, you're going to find some people that may want to do that from now and here and there. But hey, look, if you're going to do it, you're going to have other people doing that in the same neighborhood. And then you're not going to have enough people probably to fill it up the place. But the fact that she went to this place without doing some pre-work before, especially in a remote location in West Texas or North Texas, it was far away. Dirt was the driest thing. So Mars, actually, the face of Mars, it is probably, more welcoming to life than actually that location. But again, I think I hope I meet her one day. I think she's really very successful, and she wants to do this kind of things. And then the editing of the video, like I just said, is amazing. But I wouldn't trust that advice, because buying land is one of the most riskiest things if you don't have a solid plan. Okay, so if you want to buy a land, well, first of all, of course, there's some due diligence, which they did. What kind of land is this? How is this water down there, and things like that. That's okay. That's fine. I have sold and we have built it also in lots as well. But when you have something so remote, you need to start thinking, well, where am I going to get the power, electrical power? Recently, we did a construction in a semi-rural location, and everything was fine until the power company said, no, there's going to be another $12,000. Semi-rural. This is not in the middle of a desert in Texas, like in this video she had. No, this is in a semi-rural area here in Central Florida. And that was a sticker shock price, because they had to run a special line and all the stuff and put the pole and this and that and transforming and the whole thing. And that was non-negotiable. If we didn't pay that stuff, the house was not being built, period. So when you're in such a remote place, you need to think that there is no power the traditional way. Maybe you can put solar panels, but that's another investment and another maintenance there. Then you have to think about water. Okay, is there water down there or not? And then disposing the used water, the old water, the black water, the used water. Okay, that's another thing. If you're concerned about the environment, okay, then you need to dig, have a septic tank, put this thing on the ground and have it in there. And then are you going to leave it there for forever, to eternity, so it becomes a dinosaur in 2 million years? What are you going to do with that stuff? That needs to be pumped out. So when you have something so remote, the cost of operations, which you didn't mention, are higher. It takes longer for an AC guy to go. It takes longer for a plumber. Even if you have solar and electrical stuff happens, so you're going to have a technician that needs to go there. Probably they charge you $2,000. See, if right now in Central Florida, the basic professional to do basic services to your property, either plumbing or electrical, that kind of stuff, it is not less than $125 an hour. It's not less. So if you are 4 hours round trip or 5 hours round trip, think about just the cost of that. She didn't mention that, the cost of operations. Yes, it's an idyllic place. Yes, you can look at the stars and maybe you can see Mars from there, and you can see similar lands there, too. But the cost of operations of a remote location are staggering. That is why you go to some idyllic locations in some islands, stuff like that. Years ago, my family was involved in in an island, okay, for all sort of places. Then they got out of there because just going to the island and providing services or servicing the services, it was staggering, the cost, and the people were not willing to pay for that. So and also actually, so her kind of program was probably, she didn't mention, short-term rental, but it's obvious, she interviewed other people that were doing something similar, but it's one in between. So if you're going to buy land, you got to buy that the services are close by, because the cost of operations to run them are going to be through the roof when things go wrong. Not only the cost of construction. Recently, we were involved in a project in the Bahamas. Beautiful island. Actually, this plot of land, that we still have, has two oceans. It has two waters from both sides of two oceans. One is the Caribbean side and the other one is the Atlantic side. Unbelievable. It was the most southern of the islands in the Bahamian chain, so it was closer to the Tropic of Capricorn. So over there, you don't get hurricanes, actually. It's very rare. So it's way, very close to the coast of Venezuela, the most southern part of the islands. Beautiful place. You can have a landing strip in the lot, and still, in order to build there, and there were some locations already, there was some stuff in there already being built, but in order to build it, to make it economically feasible, you need to bring everything to the location. You need to make cement, you need to make blocks, you need to import them, you need to have barges, you need to have all that stuff brought in. So the cost of operations, years ago, this is the same thing that happened to me in Puerto Rico. Okay, so I had a company that was doing some energy efficiency stuff, and we were bidding for a project. We went to Puerto Rico, and one of the things I noticed is that Puerto Rico, is a developed island. They didn't have the infrastructure. They didn't have actually some basic raw materials to do the project I was bidding for. So I lost the bid because I had to make up for transportation of this stuff that comes from the United States that Puerto Rico didn't have. And this is Puerto Rico. I'm not talking in the middle of effing Texas, that the Mars, it probably looks more habitable than this place. So be careful when you listen to this kind of advice. Look at it, probably I will look at it most in entertainment fashion. I have to say that the editor of the video and the whole thing is amazing, but location has to have economic factors around it. For example, easy to get in and out, meaning, do you have good roads? Do you have good roads to get in, to get out? Do you have services like police? Do you have fire? Do you have medical? Is that there close by? Or people have to die and then you take it to the morgue, because nothing could be done. If you're going to do an Airbnb, that kind of business, or short-term rental, and you're such a remote place, you are responsible for the lives of the people that are there. Are you going to have a doctor close by? What are you going to do? So this kind of thing, I will be worried if I have something so remote and someone has a heart attack. Well, let's put him in the freezer. Sorry, ma'am. I guess that we're going to give you half price. Your husband checked out, really checked out, and we're going to give it to you tomorrow in a nice thermic package so you can take it to Ohio, and complete the funeral there. So don't buy what the show it is. It's the shiny stuff. So, okay, let's go back at the economic factors. Roads, easy to get in and out. Then you have utilities. Are utilities there? If you don't, you need to build them. They cost you money. So you have easy access to utilities. Then, do you have medical facilities I just mentioned? Police, fire. Okay? That. Okay, now, is there a city close by that they can really visit and stuff like that? So that would be cool. That would be cool. All right? Now, clearly, this is for a vacation, so you don't need good schools close by, stuff like that, but you need personnel to service the place. So I wonder if the people that are going to be in the close town are really thinking about getting out of the place because it's a miserable town, and they're thinking about, well, let me go to the big city, so maybe I make more money there for my family. So you need to think about personnel as well. Where are they? If the personnel is so far out, then they won't come because they need transportation. Are you going to provide the transportation to take them? That's why in these remote places where you have these idyllic places, people don't see it. Oh, they charge me $700. Yes, because maybe a great portion of that, it was to pay for personnel, people moving in and out that they have to have. For example, the Disney in the island that they have in the Bahamas, they have living quarters there. There's people living in the island to service the whole thing because it is impossible to, even though the other islands are close by, you can see them in the water. If you're in the port, you can see the other islands close by, with, of course, habited with humans. But no, they have to stay there. They have to stay behind. Cruise ships, of course, is logic. They cannot pick up people in ports and leave them all that. They have to be in the ship. So you have to have your staff staying at the property. If they stay in the property, well, it's going to cost you money for them to stay in the property. Why? You need to give them housing. You need to give them food. You need to give them a bunch of stuff, which is right. They are there. So building in such a remote location has their very negative aspects as well. So you need to make sure that the size of the property, fits the bill for all the extra expenses you're going to have in being such a dirt, God-forgotten place on Earth, and Mars too. So with that said, don't go for the shiny stuff and dig deeper to what people are trying to tell you, but I give her kudos for and an Oscar also for her, really nice video. Okay, with that said, I